Now, Jacqueline, about 5 minutes ago on the programme during John Gaunt's newspaper review, we were talking about a mum who brought her child onto the beach on Sunday.
I read the story and it was so sunburnt it was blistering.
And a school teacher called Alex Coulson, he had to intervene and point out to this woman, look, your child is burning. You're absolute... there's blisters all over the child's leg. The child was brought to hospital and has been had a consultation with a plastic surgeon. John Gaunt thought the child should be taken off the mother. Charlotte intervened. We've got a lot of comments, Charlotte, coming in here as well. Here's one from Maxa VR who says, I totally agree with Gaunty, but he cannot say that Charlotte is stupid. Her point is valid. Not stupid. She's a smart and very caring girl, which is what you are.
Thank you.
I don't know if authorities would take a baby off someone for sunburn. That's just...
I mean, it was awful.
Stupidity.
It was obviously very severe sunburn. This child had to go to hospital, which is not a good situation. But I think the point I was trying to make was that you just can't make sweeping judgments and say that that should happen without knowing exactly the full circumstances of how this happened. So we've had a lot of emails, I think it's safe to say, flooding in. Another one here, Martin agrees with me, actually, and says... perhaps social services should look into this. That was one of the ones that we had. But another one here, Craig Knight says, totally agree with that bloke who said the mother who let her child get blisters from sunburn should have the child taken off her. So a lot of disagreement, basically, one way or the other. But do you want me to go through them all? Hundreds of them flooding in.
There are hundreds, OK.
The woman was just basically thick, wasn't she? But is ignorance a good excuse?
Well, it just wonders, you know, you think do people need classes on how to be parents or not? I mean, or should that just be common sense?
Obviously.
They obviously do. Look, the other thing we're talking about today are tattoos and footballers' obsessions with tattoos as well.
Oh, I've had some pictures on my Twitter which are really horrendous.
Yeah.
Have you?
Yes, I have as well. So not just, I don't think any of us have anything against the odd tattoo, but we're talking about players covering their bodies with them.
But actually, I've got one here from Karen Marie in Kidderminster, and she says she's 7 tattoos and she classes them as body art and self-expression, and she loves men with tattoos.
Think of the pain, especially when you want to have them removed. We'll take a break there. We're back, all the top stories, top of the hour.
Haven, time together.
Sky News Sunrise on a Wednesday morning. Good morning. We've got John Gaunt with the newspapers, round 2, him against Charlotte, coming up very shortly. We had a heated debate, we should say, an hour ago. Have you missed that? Can we replay that in Sky News Active or anything, Charlotte?
I think maybe we'll have to, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure John's waiting to say sorry to you.
I bet he is.
Oh,
yes,
goodness me.
Yes, yes. Yes, we would like to point out it was Charlotte's opinion you thought was stupid.
Yes, precisely.
Yes,
I'm
precisely.
more than willing to apologise for that, and one should apologise when people make silly comments, so no doubt Charlotte will be apologising as well to every mother in Britain.
I think the phrase hell will freeze over springs to mind there. So stay tuned. In just under 10 minutes' time for that, we've got breaking news for you this half hour. The 4-year-old twins snatched by their mother from social 8:10. A rundown now of what else is happening, then John Gaunt with the stories catching his eye in the papers after this from Charlotte.
Thanks, Eamon. Police are trying to identify a body found in the River Aire in Shipley in West Yorkshire. Officers say it's too early to link the discovery to any missing persons inquiry, including that.
Thank you, Charlotte. Here comes John Gaunt with your newspapers, and the Daily Mirror has... well, this is a suggestion, I suppose, everybody thinks is eminently sensible, that folks should do some sort of labour for their dole. Why does it never happen? Well,
what's happening is Ian Duncan-Smith's going to make a keynote speech tomorrow, Eamon, where he's the Welfare and Pensions Minister now. He's basically going to say they're going to bring in a limited form of American-style workfare. The Daily Mirror, of course, Labour-supporting newspaper, they say this is awful. They're now calling the Lib Dem Conservative coalition the Condems. Work for your dole, pick litter or clean up. They say the unemployed will be forced to do menial jobs such as picking up litter and cleaning graffiti in exchange for dole cash.
Is that not good for everybody all round? Good for society, good for your soul, good for spirit?
I was going to say, and the problem is, you know, why should you just constantly get the dole? And it's interesting, the Mirror, Labour supporting Mirror, 4 million people unemployed as a result of Labour policies. They didn't get on top of this. We need to get on top of it. And as you say, it brings back a kind of a self-respect, doesn't it, if you work? And yes, there will be menial jobs.
This country is filthy. It is just filthy. The amount of litter and graffiti and all sorts of things. You go to countries like Germany, which are much cleaner. Now, I don't know particularly why that is. Part of it is people don't feel an ownership, personal responsibility. But I think this is a marvellous thing.
And also, did you notice in Alabama, where they got the oil coming ashore, they got prisoners out to help clean up the oil off the beaches?
Well,
imagine doing it here.
They don't have the Human Rights Act there, do they?
You hear them bleating now. So I think the Mirror, rather than attacking the coalition, should be supporting this. I think it should definitely work for your doll.
Abortion figures are down by 6,000, apparently.
Yeah, according to the Sun today, one of their early editions, it says the abortion rate has dropped for a second year. And it's interesting just because it comes at the same time as this abortion ad that Mary Stopes had on Channel 4 on Monday night, of course, and a big controversy, should there be adverts for abortions or not. I mean, there's still the best part of 211,000 abortions a year. I don't think David Steele, when he introduced the Abortion Act in 1967, ever thought we would be killing babies on this industrial scale. And I say that advisedly. You know, I actually think we have got abortion on demand in this country now. That was never meant to happen. I don't think the advert needs to be on the telly. I interviewed the woman from Mary Stopes on my radio show, and she said, oh, it's because sex education isn't good enough. I said, well, is it better than when you and I were at school in the 70s? Oh, no, no, no. I mean, what a load of garbage. Clearly, it's better. We talk about sex more because of HIV/AIDS. Kids should be able to take more protection. Unfortunately, people are using this as a drastic form of contraception. I welcome the fact it's gone down by 6,000, but it's still 200,000 babies getting murdered every year, in my opinion.
Let's go to the front page of The Independent. And while the State Open of Parliament was happening, there is this Iraq protester being arrested outside.
Well, The Independent are obviously trying to make a point that this is terrible that Brian Hawes was arrested, and they're juxtaposing the Queen and Prince Philip next to it. I don't know about you. I watched it yesterday. Absolutely fabulous. We do pomp, circumstance and ceremony better than anybody else. But, of course, we don't want this scruffy protester out in Westminster. We should have washed him off the streets 10 years ago. He's been here for nearly 10 years, polluting the place. Of course, people have got a right to protest, but I'd like to know how he's been supporting himself, or rather, should I say, how we've been supporting him.
The thing about this man, whatever his right or wrong is, he does seem to be indulged.
He is completely indulged. I mean, the man's made his protest. He can come down and protest, then at night he should go home. He stood there with his loud hailer, blocking up the traffic, and then every other idiot and soap dodger comes down there with their protests as well. It's the mother of all parliaments. Demonstrations are fine. This guy's gone too far, and as I say, he should have been washed off the street years ago.
But is that worse than what we see now in The Guardian, and this is from Thailand?
Yeah, well, I mean, I wouldn't go as far as this. This is a Briton who faced the death penalty for alleged incitement of red shirt rioters in Bangkok. What's his name? Jeff Savage. He's been caught on camera, and it looks like he's telling people, loot the shops, burn the shops down. Well, he's a Brit. What's the Thailand protest got to do with him? So now the Thais are saying, we might kill him. Even for me, that's a little bit extreme. But then again, mate, don't go to somebody else's country and cause trouble. You little anarchist, you.
What do you think of Ashley Cole?
I think he's one of the world's greatest footballers. Unfortunately, he likes playing away too often, doesn't he? And why would he do that when he had the beautiful Cheryl Cole? This is this is in the final editions of The Sun today. It's a great piece by my colleague Gordon Smart, the showbiz editor. Genius defender, serial offender. And he basically talks about it. Cheryl is going to get rid of Ashley before the World Cup. That's a good thing. She's putting her country first. She's also not asking him for a single penny. And he's a very, very silly boy, isn't he? Because he's lost, you know, what most people would describe as the most beautiful woman in Britain at the moment. And she doesn't deserve this.
Well, that's not true. The most beautiful woman in Britain sitting beside you right now.
Yeah, of course.
Now, even though she's not speaking to you. But...
Oh, no, notice this. She didn't even jump in on the washing the protester off the street. What's up, Charlotte?
Nothing. Everything's fine. Why would something possibly be up?
I did find it odd that just before the 7 o'clock news, you decided to have another go when I wasn't here to defend myself. However, I will apologise for calling your opinion stupid. Unlike the emailer who said I called you stupid, I didn't. Just your opinion. So I guess most people are agreeing with me.
Well, actually, it's fairly split. We have had an awful lot.
It's like, you work for Pravda.
We have had an awful lot of emails, texts and tweets on this. Thank you for all of those. Far too many to even go through them, actually.
Yes.
But
and this is about a woman who brought her baby out into the sun at the weekend, 25 degrees centigrade, 5-month-old child, blistered all over. John felt that the child was brought into hospital care. John felt that almost should go to the point where the child should be taken away from the woman.
No, not almost to the point. Definitely. The child should be taken off her until she is taught how to be a mother. If she's incapable of being a mother, just like your social worker person you had on before, we need to intervene earlier. Charlotte clearly doesn't think that's the case. Let's keep these destructive families together.
I just said, of course, it's an awful situation, but until you know the full circumstances of what happened, you can't immediately jump in and say the child should be taken away.
Maybe it was just a terrible mistake. But anyway,
the
we'll
full
agree to...
circumstances are the kid's got 40% burn.
We'll agree to disagree on that one. Thank you. And thank you, everybody who let your opinion be heard via Twitter.
Thanks for your support.
At Sky Charlotte and at Eamon Holmes. And what is yours, Twitter?
I haven't got a Twitter, I'm afraid.
Well, there's somebody on there pretending to be you.
There's several people pretending to be me.
Well, I'm fed up talking to them then.
I don't quite understand why they want to pretend to be me, but they are.
You should be able to spot the difference anyway by their opinions.
Thank you. Round 3 next Wednesday. Thank you very much. We go to Afghanistan now. The town of Gereshk is in southern Afghanistan now.